my boys were smaller, we used to watch a show every week. In addition to Dukes of Hazzard, we also watched another show called The A-Team. George Papard and Mr. T, some of y'all recall some of that. And every week they'd have some major thing that they worked together on, but toward the end of the show, George Papard would always light up his cigar and he would say, "Isn't it great when a plan comes together?" And I think that's what we're about here today. It's a time when a plan has come together. Some time ago, it was pointed out to us that we had a problem on our farm that we didn't realize we had. Someone had buried some materials on our campus that, unbeknownst to us, that was discovered, and we in turn needed to deal with that. And we have done so in a very forthright manner. We not only took care of the hazardous waste materials, toxic materials may be better, I'm not sure, Mark, you know all those kind of terms. We not only took care of that, but at the same time we realized that we had a situation on our campus and on our farm that's very much like we see all across Warren County and probably, I guess, all across southern Kentucky where the cave and karst country exists, called sinkholes. They are commonplace for us all, and we know where they are. I have one, matter of fact, at the President's home that just keeps showing up. The Mark keeps filling in for us on a regular basis. But it's a regular occurrence. And what people have done, I guess, since the beginning of time is found that a sinkhole is a great place to put things because it just sinks and goes in and gets out of the way. What we've come to realize over time, of course, is that that's detrimental to the environment and it's not as good for us as it should be. So while we were in the middle of doing the cleanup on the toxic waste, we also began the cleanup of our sinkholes on our farm. And working in cooperation, our ag department with Gordon Jones, Luther Hughes, and many others, working closely with the Commissioner of Agriculture, Billy Ray Smith, the decision was made that we would make our sinkholes a model project for the state and other places as well. And so a project was started. And the project was to not only clean them up, and boy, what a Pandora's box we got into cleaning them up, from refrigerators to pieces of cars to tires, and I never did see the full list, but it was quite a list of things. Things I suspect you could find all across southern Kentucky. And as those have been cleaned out, we then went ahead with the project and prepared the sinkholes for the future in a way that we think will serve as a model for other farmers to utilize in straightening up their sinkholes as well. The technical pieces of that, Gordon and some others could give you more detail about that, but and using rock, what you call it, riprap. I call it rock, but it's rock to keep the soil stable with wiring and so forth, so that the water just flows right in and flows into the sinkhole, and it produces a clean environment underneath. I guess the point of all of this, what I'm trying to say to you, is that Western Kentucky University took a negative and made it into a positive for the state. And I'm so proud of the people who have worked on this project to make that come to reality. Gordon Jones and several people worked to try to make sure we were doing this right. Deborah Wilkins in our office, a university attorney, did just a marvelous job on this as my liaison with this project to make sure that stayed on target, keeping me informed about it as it all moved forward. Dan Ronker, and who else was on that committee? Catching you cold here. Nick Crawford and Dan Ronker served on a committee to help us determine the impact of all of this, some of our outstanding professors to do the investigation. So I want to say to you, I'm proud of the Western family and some others who joined with the Western family to make all of this happen, and Dr. Jones will tell you about some of those folks here in just a second. But I'm proud of what everyone has accomplished here. This is something very good. We're going to use what we did with the sinkholes as a model for farmers to not only come and see, but we videotape the process so that it's something that they can use as they look at their farms to see how it can be done to make their farms even better and to make our environment cleaner and safer. So, having said all of that, Dr. Jones, would you come forward and give us a little more detail about it? Thank you.
Thank you, President.